What up, people? It's your boy, Master Chudy, out here with another video. So, it's been a while since my last video. Obviously, the review of the Cape Crusader, my review, garnered some interesting comments, but I'm not mad at it. People got their opinions, and I'm happy to receive them. That said, since my review of that, two more shows have come into the spotlight. Obviously, one has ended. We all know about the Acolyte and its cancellation, in my opinion, deservedly so, for stretching the lore of Star Wars, bad technical aspects, not good enough acting in most of the cases, and of course, the Rings of Power, which I have not watched, and will not watch, but has not been doing well. This time, the critics have also fallen in with the fans and disregarding it. And so that leads me to believe, what is a show that is of this same genre but seems to be doing what people ask it to do? And that would be the Wingfeather Saga. Now, if you don't know, the Wingfeather Saga is an animated show. It's on Angel Studios app. I've had the opportunity to watch the first two seasons. I'm not familiar with the book, and I found out about the book through watching this series. And I would say, and now it's getting its third season. So, unlike these two shows, it's been around longer with more content, or about to get more content. Now, I ask why I bring up the Wingfeather Saga in comparison with these two, because it does several things that the Acolyte and the Rings of Power do not. And it respects pretty much what it wants to bring. Here are a couple things, and the reasons why I think that the Wingfeather Saga is a very good piece of work. One, the Wingfeather Saga seems to respect its lore very well. Like I said, I have not read the books. I didn't even know it was a book. I thought it was an original idea until I started watching the show, and a lot of fans say, "Oh yes, we're very excited." I believe there are 5 books within this saga, or more. I think 5 or 7, but I believe 5 at least. And many people point out, "Oh, we are doing this and we're doing that. This is what we want to bring into on the animated scene." The creators of the show actually have had these live Q&As on YouTube that people have been excited about, that have been asking questions about what from the books are we going to see in the show, and they've been very open that we're going to put this, we're going to put that. They really care about it, and really do, you know, as well. So it's clear that they respect their source material. It's clear that they respect their lore. And from what we've seen, especially with the Acolyte in general, is that they don't respect the lore. We've seen with the Acolyte stretching the Phantom Menace. And they're not the first to do this, as with Kenobi. You can say they didn't break lore, but they were very close to stretching it to breaking point as well. And it seems that that's what a lot of Disney Star Wars shows do. They like to mess with their lore and break it. And that's what they've essentially done. So that's that. And the Rings of Power has already upset a lot of people from the Tolkien camp. So, it is what it is. Um, Second reason is that even though you don't have live action actors in the Wingfeather Saga, this is an animated show, the VAs clearly like the series that they're creating. They're clearly excited about voicing these characters, telling us what these characters feel, within the setting of the story being told. Not anything that we have to deal with our daily lives, but saying that, okay, in this mythical world, how does one of the characters is named Jenner? How is Jenner adapting to these new challenges? How is his brother adapting to the challenges of responsibility being thrust upon him? Which can also be applied to our real world, but not taking anything from what we know to be real world issues in that thing. Um, all the characters, like all of these VAs, are giving identity to the characters that they voice, and I think that's very important in terms of grabbing the audience to be invested in the characters, and by means also being invested into the story. We see that apparently we see that Leslie Headland decided to make the Acolyte an allegory for things in her personal life, and to be quite blunt, the average person doesn't really care unless it's smartly woven into, but it was beat like a blunt object. We don't know anything about the motivations of any of the Jedi we saw, closest being Saul and that was purposefully done to just, I don't know, demean him. I can't even say, I don't even know why, but there we go. Rings of Power, the same thing. Orcs are an allegory. You have what happened in the Southern Lands about the elves being an allegory, an allegory of, you know, not necessarily oppressors, but minorities that are looking over the predominantly white Southern people who have an issue with I want to say an issue with somebody who's not white, essentially, you know, overlooking them so much, and people don't want that in what they consume. There's a medium for that, and that's known as documentaries, historical films, biopics, things that we can latch onto. But sometimes, people immerse into sci-fi and fantasy to deplug from or unplug from, the the daily um, the daily routine that we see played out all the time, and it gets tiring. It really does. The third thing that the Wing for the Saga does that both of these don't do is that, for goodness sake, even though they're adaptations, the story is very cohesive in the Wing Feather Saga. Like, the goal is set, a little bit of detours here, but everything converges well. They do A, B, and C plots very well, and they all connect, or the B plot will connect to the C plot to the A plot, or whatnot. But there's a connection, there's a vision, there's a cohesion about what does what. And the characters have motivations, they're written with motivations, and they're not written jankly. Here, within the Acolyte, we've seen with Amanda Stenberg's character of May and Osha that they are not written well because they flip allegiances almost every single episode. Well, in May's case, every single episode. And it's done with no build up. May is bad, then May is good, then May is bad, then May is good, and then she's bad again, and then at the end she is good, and then they wipe her memory. Osha, you know, you could say at least she was still trying to be good, but her fall to the dark side was not done well, and it was sloppy. And then of course we have, we all knew that Kymir was the quote unquote Sith apprentice without it. So the reveal of him being the Sith apprentice was very, 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 very weak, extremely weak. You know, this issue of trying to make everything morally gray leads to no stakes because it's possible that, oh, well, everybody is good in a certain sense. The way to make the reason why they make these characters morally gray is so that you can care, so that it's a cheap way to make you care about certain characters, which is not good. And this idea of moral gray area writing is what makes writing and story kind of weak. If everybody can be, oh, he's good sometimes and bad sometimes, then where's the conflict? And you can have morally gray anti-heroes, but there's always has to be good and evil. And both the Rings of Power and the Acolyte fail to do that. Whereas with the Wingfeather saga, we've seen people who have betrayed the main character after asking for service or free passage. But one, either they're not good people, never have been, or two, it's made clear that yes, they do play both sides. And you can say, well, Judy, that's the moral relativism. Granted, but they're not the main characters. These are side characters, and that's how they operate. The main characters are very much good, and their opponents, who are also important to the story, are very much bad. And we have direct conflict. Each of these sides have their own goals. We don't know the goals of anybody in the Acolyte because everybody is just fluid in terms of their morality. And so, who do you root for? You had Plagueis, but we already know it, and everybody's recommended the Plagueis book, and that's something I'd recommend to you guys as well. And the Rings of Power, we've already seen in the last two episodes extreme moral relativism about, you know, oh, leave us alone, we're not evil, even though Tolkien clearly made and wrote that the orcs are bad. Sauron is bad. He might have an interesting background, and his rise to power is compelling with intrigue, So that's something else that you can put into as well. The process to which one got into power, but that's not really taken care of. So yeah, this is just a quick 10-minute video I wanted to do on the three reasons, the three things that the Wingfeather Saga does that the Acolyte and the Rings of Power do not do well. So thank y'all for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notifications to make sure you're notified. And comment down below to tell me what you all think about my thoughts on this. Am I wrong? Do you agree? Or do you have another interesting take? I thank y'all for watching this video because I want to produce good content. I produce these videos for you, the people, because I want to try to produce good content. Thank y'all for watching, and I should hopefully have more videos up when I can. Peace and happy Labor Day, y'all.